أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum, welcome to Future Stars Live on Hidayat TV. I'm your host Sajda, and today we're going to be focusing on Imam Jafar Sadiq today, and also continue with the topic that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, continuing with the topic of Salah as well. So before we continue, I'd like to introduce my guest.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohsin.
And like we always start on every show, Misbah, you're going to read the surah, Mohsin, you're going to read the translation. So we can start off with the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. Ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma qasab. Sayasla naran dhata lahab. Wa imra'atuhu hammalatal hatab. في جيدها حبل من مسد. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Has the path of Abu Lahab will perish, and he will perish. His wealth and gain will not exempt him. He will be plunged into flaming fire, and his wife, the wood carrier, will have upon her neck a haunted upon fibre. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. First of all, can we start off the show with a loud salawat in honor of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Second in honor of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Third with our loudest voices in honor of the Imam of the time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal Zaman.
Allahumma salli ala
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Thank you, Mohsin and Misbah. So just remember, whenever you are reciting a surah, make sure you know the translation as well, so you know the history behind it, and also how you can implement it into your life as well. Okay, so getting on to today's show, what is the importance of today's day?
It's the shahadat of Imam Jafar Sadiq.
Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Yeah, and the date today, what month is it?
It's
Shawwal.
Yeah, and the date is the 15th of Shawwal. Yeah, this is the date that Imam Jafar Sadiq passed away. Yeah, was martyred. Yeah, and we're going to be getting into talking about this, but also continue with a topic that we talked about a couple of weeks back. Yeah, which was what?
Which was
the importance of Salah.
Yeah, Salah. And we're linking these topics together because also because obviously the Imams, the Prophets, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they taught us to uphold Salah most greatly. Do you know any saying from Imam Jafar Sadiq talking about Salah? Mohsin?
He who does not like praying namaz, he's not part of his ummah.
Yeah. So Imam Jafar Sadiq has said that people who don't uphold their Salah, people who don't do their Salah are not from him. Yeah. So this is obviously showing the how much important, and how valuable Salah is in the eyes of the Imams, yeah, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, as they've told us, yeah, that you're not a part of us, yeah, because they're teaching us what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do, yeah, and they're saying that you won't be a part of us, yeah, if you don't do your Salah. Yeah, so that's why it's really important. Misbah, you're going to start us off reading something about Imam Jafar Sadiq. So can we start, Misbah, with Allah salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajam.
The sixth Imam, Jafar ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq alayhi salam, was born in Medina on the 17th Rabi al-Awwal, 83 Hijri, died in Medina on 15th Shawwal, 148 Hijri, at the age of 63, period of Imamate 34 years. It is known from various history books and various sources of hadith that when Imam as-Sadiq was a young boy, he used to come to the schools and madrasas founded by his father, the fifth Imam, and instead of learning as many other youngsters and older people did, he used to discuss serious matters of fiqh and jurisprudence with much older students of the madrasas. In one such discourses, when he was only 11 years old, when he entered a classroom where the pupils were discussing on the subject of astronomy, he pointed out to the surprise of everyone except his own father that the earth cannot be flat because of the way the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the day and night change in 24 hours. It cannot be possible. In his opinion, the earth must be round, otherwise this would not have happened in such a precise manner. All the students were astonished, but his father smiled and said nothing. The above story was mentioned in a book compiled by 5 French scholars at Strasbourg in France with the title The Heart of the Shia Scholarship. The book has been translated in Persian and Urdu and is now being translated in English with possible references. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala
Muhammad
wa ala Muhammad
wa ajil farajam.
Okay, thank you, Misbah. So from there, you could see the start of Imam Jafar Sadiq's life and how he would lead up to even starting his own, having these major classes. That would attract so many people. His school that he had, and no matter what religion those people were, they would still go to Imam Jafar Sadiq because they knew how much the respect that he had there and the knowledge. And Mohsin, you've got the next thing. So can we start, Mohsin, off with a loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Up to the age of 12 years old, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was brought up under the guidance of his grandfather, Imam Zain al-Abidin, whose main concern was to worship his Maker and reflect on the tragic events of Karbala, and those whose main avenue of teaching was through supplications. 22 years had lapsed since then, yet the remembrance of the tragedy of Karbala was still fresh in his memory. So as soon as Imam Jafar Sadiq gained understanding, he was profoundly impressed by the continuous grief of his grandfather, so much so that he felt as if he himself was present during that tragedy. He also contemplated on the presence of his father, Imam Baqir alayhi salam, who was only 3 years old at that tragic time. Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam considered it his duty to convene the recitation majlises about the sorrowful events of Karbala. He was 12 years old when his grandfather expired. Then, up to the age of 31, he passed his time under the guidance of his father, Imam Baqir alayhi salam. It was a time when Umayyad politics were tottering and the Muslims were approaching Imam Baqir alayhi salam in thousands. Then the need for knowledge was fulfilled by the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt. In 114 Hijri, Imam Baqir alayhi salam died, and the responsibilities of Imamate devolved on the shoulders of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq. Hashim Ibn Abdul Malik was still ruling in Damascus, and political disturbances were afoot. The passion of taking revenge on Bani Umayyah was strong, and several descendants of Imam Ali were preparing themselves to overthrow the regime. Most prominent among them was Zayd the respected son of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. His religious zeal and piety were known throughout Arabia. He was Hafiz of the Quran, and he had taken upon the stand of removing the tyranny of the Umayyads. This was very precarious juncture for Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in regards to the tyranny of the Umayyads. He agreed with his uncle Zayd, whom he had a great deal of respect, but due to his far-sighted judgment, Imam could clearly see that Zayd rising against the well-organized Umayyads will no avail. He therefore advised him to not start this rage. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr. Thank you, Mohsin. So, Misra, you got the next thing, so can start Misra off with the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr.
But Zayd was too far out in his zeal, and he would not stop. Many thousands of Iraqis had sworn their allegiance to Zayd, and he was quite optimistic about his success. He took his forces to Kufa, gave a great battle, but was killed in the end. The Umayyads were as brutal as ever. They hung the body of Zayd on the gates of the city of Kufa, which remained there as a reminder for several years. 1 year after Zayd's death, his son Yahya gained the same path and received the same fate. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was aware of all this, but realized that this was not the time to take any such active part. His main occupation was to spread the religious sciences of Ahlul Bayt as much as possible while time was on his side. The last days of the Umayyads were ruffled by political disturbances. Changes in governors were many, and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam witnessed the rise and fall of many kings. After Hisham, Walid, then his son Yazid, then Ibrahim, then Marwan al-Himar came to the throne. The capture of the latter terminated the monarchy of the tyrannical Umayyads. During the last phase of the tyrant Umayyad rule, the Abbasids were actively engaged in their anti-Umayyad activities. They took advantage of the situation and formed an association with the slogan that right to rule is for the family of the Holy Prophet. They pledged in one of their meetings in Medina, in which Muhammad Nafsi Zakiya, the great-grandson of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, was present, that when the Umayyad state topples, the Caliphate will be reverted to the Ahlul Bayt. It is clear that to rule the Islamic world was not the job of every Hashemite or Abbasid. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr. Thank you, Misbah. So you can see at this period, yeah, this timeline of you could say chaos in the government who was ruling over the Muslims at that time, yeah, and in Imam Jafar Sadiq's lifetime there was this beginning of a shift, yeah. You could see that people were uprising against the Umayyads, yeah, but they were always put down, yeah. These things distracted what the government, the Umayyad, the government, yeah, to focus on these things, but it took the focus, well, not entirely, but it took some of the focus away from the Imam. So this gave the Imam a real chance, yeah, which some of the Imams were not able to have, which was that they're given this time to go out and preach Islam, yeah, and not get silenced because of what they're saying, yeah. And this really helped Imam Jafar Sadiq. And when there was a turnover in leadership from the Umayyads to the Abbasids, yeah, this period of this turnover gave Imam Jafar Sadiq enough, this distracted, yeah, all of the powers wishing to hurt Imam Jafar Sadiq to establish his school and teach people, yeah, which is all that he wanted to do, yeah. So he had a really an perfect time, a perfect time for him to flourish and teach. So Mohsin, you got the next thing, so you can start Mohsin off with the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
It was the right of those who divinely appointed descendants of the Holy Prophet whom God had chosen to lead humanity. But these high-thinking souls never wished to take undue advantage of the situation with the aid of cunning tactics. In short, the Imams, the descendants of Ali alayhi salam, never tried to acquire power through political trickery. But the Abbasid, no doubt, took the opportunity of this situation, availing themselves of the silence shown by the Imams and the compassion people for the Hashemites. The Abbasids too were Hashemites. They saw their chances to rise to power, but when they established themselves on the throne, they became the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt in the same degree or more than that which had been adopted by the heartless Umayyads. One of the prominent agents of the revelation was Abu Salma al-Khalil, who especially compassionate towards the Ahlul Bayt. When he gained power in Iraq, he wrote letters to Imam Sadiq, inviting him to accept and share the royal power. In political struggles, such opportunities are considered golden, but the Imam, who was an embodiment of selfness and self-respect, declined the offer and remained devoted to his duties, imparting knowledge. The supporters of Abbasid caused the followers of Abu Muslim Khorasani then took the oath of allegiance, and at the hand of the Abul Abbas as Safar on 14th Rabasani 132 Hijrah. He was acknowledged as the ruler and the Caliph of the Muslim world. In the year 136 Hijri, Safir died and his brother Abu Jafar Mansur succeeded to the throne. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. So we've seen a shift, we've seen this shift in power, which has given the Imam the ability to freely give out this knowledge that he has. Miss, you got the next thing, and I think from that then we'll go on to talking about a bit about Salah. So can we start, Mr. with the salawat?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. It has already been indicated that the Abbasids took advantage of the popularity of the Ahlul Bayt and had made their slogan to stand and protect the rights of the Ahlul Bayt. They gathered the public around them on this pretext. But when they came to power and destroyed the Umayyads, they turned against the Ahlul Bayt, particularly the descendants of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Abu Salma, who was known for his love of the Ahlul Bayt, was killed by Safar. Abu Muslim Khorasani, whose armies marched into Iraq, leading to the Abbasids gaining power, was also murdered by Mansur. He then turned all his tyranny against the descendants of Imam Hussain. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was watching all this with great sadness, but he was unable to do anything about it. He expressed his sorrow for them in these words. The early Medinites, Ansars, had invited the Holy Prophet to Medina under the oath that they would protect him and his descendants just as they would protect their own kith and kin. But today the descendants of those very Ansars act as silent onlookers, and none stands up to protect the Prophet's offspring. Having said these words, the Imam returned to his house and fell ill and was unable to move for 20 days. Among the prisoners of Mansur was also the aged Abdullah-i-Madhi, the grandson of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. His son Muhammad Nafsi Zakiya rose against the oppressive regime and fell fighting near Medina in 142 Hijri. The head of the young warrior was sent to his aged father in prison who died at the site of this atrocious act. Another son, Ibrahim, rose in Kufa and was killed in the year 143 Hijri. Many said the descendants of Imam Hussein were killed and many of them were buried alive as part of the building walls in the city of Baghdad. Even today, a wall exists on the northern side of the river Tigris near the Jisri Atik, the old bridge, with an inscription on the wall in the Kufic script. In the building material of this wall, many descendants of Imam Hussein ibn Ali were buried alive. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Misbah. So there you can see how actually this the shifting power, the Ahlul Bayt was actually used in the shifting power, yeah, as a political way of gaining strength from people, yeah, getting support, but then at the end of it they went back on their word, yeah. So Misbah, just carry on a bit more, and we're gonna continue just a bit more talking about Imam Jafar Sadiq's life. So this is going to be the last bit, then we'll go on Salah. Okay, so can we start with Salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
In spite of all these atrocities against the descendants of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam went on sadly propagating the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. As a result, even those who did not acknowledge him as an infallible Imam, nor knew his prestige or lineage, bowed before his knowledge and prided in being counted among his students. Mansur, the Abbasid Caliph, wanted to remove the esteem in which the Imam was held by the people. He tried to bring scholars to compete with him, but all of them proved incapable of arguing and succeeded even with his own students. These so-called ulemas of the Durbar all admitted that their counterparts had acquired the religious learning from the descendants of the Prophet. The arrogant Caliph ignored them and continued to undermine the popularity and respect of the Imam by other means. Failing this, he decided to harass, arrest, or to murder him. In every town and city, he hired agents were posted to monitor the activities of the followers of the Imam. It was at this time that the followers were given the name of Rafidun, i.e. the rejectors. It was Mansur who coined the word Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah to promote a sect against the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. Anyone who was found supporting the Imam would be arrested, imprisoned, or killed. The Imam himself was summoned from Medina to Baghdad, the newly founded capital of the Abbasid regime. Until then it was Kufa, then transferred from Damascus after the fall of the Umayyads. 5 times he was taken away from Medina to Baghdad, questioned or harassed in one way or the other. Mansur could never find sufficient grounds to order his imprisonment or assassination. On the other hand, the consequent stay of the Imam in Iraq only expanded the circle of those who wanted to learn the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt from him. Perceiving this, Mansur sent him back to Medina. Even there, the Imam was not spared from persecution and harassment. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. So from there you can see, from once a group of people who wanted power and used and said was because of the sake of the Ahlul Bayt, now turned against the Ahlul Bayt. Yeah, so you can see how much power can change people, and how much for power you'll do anything. Yeah, so going back to the saying of Imam Jafar Sadiq, that that people that you're not part of, you're not the people of the Ahlul Bayt if you abandon
your prayer.
Yeah, your Salah, your Namaz. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into Namaz, and we're going to be talking about a bit more rule based. Yeah, we're going to be talking about rules, and the part of Salah that we're going to be talking about is what? Sajda. Yeah, so what are the parts of Salah? So you've got, what's when you're standing up? Qiyam,
Ruku,
Sajda,
Carry on.
Julus.
Was that what you mentioned?
Yeah.
Julus.
What is the first bit?
Takbir al-ihram.
Yeah. Okay, so these are the bits of Salah, the positions of Salah. Yeah, so Misbah, you're gonna start us off. Can we start Misbah with the last salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Sajda means that you should place your forehead on the earth in special manner with the intention of humility before Allah. During the sajda, 7 parts of your body must touch the ground. They are forehead, 2 palms, 2 knees, and big toes of both feet. Among these 7 parts, the forehead must directly sit upon the earth. The place where you will put your forehead and your toes must be of the same level. If there is any difference, it should not be more than 4 joint fingers.
Okay, so before we go any further, we should have a picture of someone doing sajda, if that is able to come up now. And what Misbah, so how many parts were supposed to be on the ground?
7.
7. So what are those parts?
Forehead, 2
Forehead,
palms,
2 palms.
2 knees, and big toes of both feet.
Yeah, so I don't think you're able to see the toes in those in that picture, but you'll be able to see, yeah, the parts which are touching the ground. You can see the forehead, you can see the palm, you can see the knee. Yeah, so these are the things that are supposed to be touching the ground. Yeah, whilst you're doing salah. Yeah, and make sure once they're on the ground, yeah, once they're all on the ground together, make sure you don't lift them before you finish your sajda. Yeah. Okay, so Misbah, if you carry on.
The dhikr of sajda is similar to that of ruku with the difference of only one word. It recited as Subhana Rabbi al-Ala wa bihamdi. Exalted beyond my understanding is my Lord, the Most High, and I praise Him. You can also recite Subhanallah 3 times. Some rules about the order you should perform sajda. Stand up straight and still before going into the first sajda. While reciting the dhikr of sajda, you should be still. You should not start the zikr until you have reached the required position and are not moving. If you intentionally recite the dhikr of sajda before your body becomes still, or raise your head while still reciting the dhikr, your salah is batil. Get up after the first sajda into a sitting position, then go into the second sajda. Recite the dhikr again, making sure you are still and don't start until you are in exact position. Get up again after the second sajda into a sitting position before continuing with the salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Misbah. So Misbah was telling us the rules of sajda, yeah, and some things. So Misbah and Mohsin, what do we have to make sure when doing sajda? What do we need to make sure?
We have to like make sure that you, like your big toes are like touching the ground, like
Yeah.
make sure you,
All
like
the parts of your
Yeah,
body are
all
touching
throughout
the
your
ground.
forehead on the sajda, yeah, your 2 palms flat down, knees touching the ground, and your big toes touching the ground as well. Yeah. So that's one thing. What else do we need to remember when doing sajda?
That you recite the dhikr
Yeah.
properly.
So you can say Subhanallah 3 times. So Subhanallah, 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 Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih. Yeah. So this is what you have to say. And what does it mean, Misbah? Mostly if you go up and tell us the meaning of that.
It means exalted beyond my understanding is my Lord, the Most High, and I praise Him.
And what is one thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago about salah and concentration in salah? If you what?
If you
If you concentrate hard enough,
Yeah.
even if you're injured or anything like that,
Yeah.
the pain will not hurt you.
Not only that, but what did we talk about in how to gain concentration in salah? If we know the what? What did you just tell me now?
If we know the Arabic and
the meaning.
And the meaning.
Yeah, the meaning. So if we know the meaning, we're going to gain concentration. So it's good that we talk about the meaning of this. Okay. So and one more thing that we need to remember. What's another thing that we need to remember? Staying what? Still when doing it. So make sure you're entirely in the right position. You got all the parts on the ground. Yeah, you're in the right position. once you start and your hands are all in the right position, until you haven't finished doing your reciting your zikr, yeah, you can't lift, you can't move. So I move my palm like this. What does my salah become? Batil. Yeah. So thank you for that, Misbah. Mohsin, you got the next thing, so you can start Mohsin after the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
If a person can sit but cannot do sajda properly because of an illness or any other reason, then he or she should do one of the following things. If a person can sit but not do salah properly, then he certainly should bow down as much as he or she, and the mohas should on something high and place his or her forehead on it. The palms, knees, toes must still touch the ground. If something high cannot be found, he or she cannot find a person to hold it, then the sajda should be raised to the forehead by the person himself or herself. If a person cannot perform sajda at all, then he or she makes a sign of it with his or her with her head. If a person cannot make a sign with the head, then he or she makes a sign of it with the eyes. If a person cannot make the sign of sajda with the eyes, then he or she makes the sajda with the hand and recite the dhikr in his or her mind. When in sajda, to place one's nose on mohir or on anything that sajda can be performed, to keep hands on level of the ears with the fingers together and the fingertips facing the qibla, repeating the dhikr on sajda an odd number of 3, 5 or 7 times, reciting salawat after getting up from the first sajda, to say takbir, astaghfirullah
Rabbi wa atubu ilayh.
And also takbir before the second sajda. Bi wallahi lahi wa
Bihawlillahi wa quwwatihi aqumu wa aqad.
While getting up for the next rakat, one can even add the word wa asud after akud. While in sajda, you should pray to Allah and express your wishes. This is recommended.
يا خير المرسلين ويا خير المتين ارزقني وارزق عيالي من فضلك فإنك ذو الفضل العظيم.
O you who are the best from whom people seek their needs, and O you who are the best givers of gifts, give me the members of my family sustenance with your grace. Undoubtedly you possesses the greatest grace. It is mustahab to prolong the sajda when sitting after sajda, to place one's hands on the thighs. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Misbah. I mean Mohsin. So what Mohsin was going through there is the rules of doing sajda when there's when something's happened to you,
either disabled,
they're ill,
disability or an elderly,
and these are rules which people can follow to do the sajda without there being a difficulty on them, because if they can't do it normally, then they would have to do it in another way, And what was some of the ways that people can do sajda?
They could bend down as low as they can and put the sajda on something high and do it there.
So if there's say you got a back problem, yeah, it really affects you, that you can't bend down as much. What the rule is for that is put it as high as you can, and this is why people, or the elderly people, yeah, they have a chair where they put their on, which they bend as much as they can, then they're able to do sajda on what? In that way, yeah, which makes it easier for them, yeah. So if there's a back problem and you can't bend as much, put it on a high place where you're able to bend to and do your sajda like that, yeah. So there's always alternative to doing salah, yeah. And then he went on to some things to say in salah as well, in sajda as well, yeah. So Misbah, what were some of the things that he said to put in your salah, in your sajda?
He said that after, like, you could like say the normal sajda and then just add on the words wa arka wa asjud.
Yeah. And Misbah, what does that mean?
And perform ruku and sajda.
And what else did he mention? The last bit.
He said while in sajda, like, you can say this dua.
Yeah, please.
يا خير المواصلين ويا خير المطين ارزقني وارزق عيالي من فضلك فإنك ذو الفضل العظيم. O you who are the best from whom people seek their needs, and O you who are the best giver of gifts, give me and my members of my family sustenance with your grace. Undoubtedly you possess the greatest grace.
And these are things which are mustahab in sajda, yeah. So these are things that are really recommended to say when you're in sajda, yeah. Okay, Misbah, you got the next thing, so we can start Misbah with loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
When going down for sajda, a man should go in such a way that first his hands touch the ground, whereas a woman should go in such a way that first her knees touch the ground. A man should keep his hands away from the body, whereas a woman should keep them close to her body. Men should not make their elbows and stomachs touch the ground, and women should place their elbows and stomachs on the ground and should join their limbs with one another. Things on which sajda is allowed: natural earth, anything that is not eaten or worn, anything that grows from the earth such as wood, leaves. Further rules regarding things on which sajda is allowed: natural earth, this does not include mineral or precious stones that come out of the mines. As mentioned above, you cannot do sajda on any things that are used in food or dress. For example, you can do sajda on the leaves of a mango tree, but you can't do sajda on the mango itself. You can do sajda on paper if it has been manufactured from wood, grass, cotton or flax. Paper made from silk is not allowed. If you cannot find something on which sajda is allowed, then you can do it on tar. If there is nothing else available, then you should do sajda on your dress or on the back of your hand. Sajda performed on soft clay or mud on which your forehead cannot stay still is batil. If you perform sajda on a thing upon which sajda is not allowed and realize before reciting the dhikr, then you should gradually slide or move your head onto a thing that is permitted. Importance of sajda. It is haram to do sajda to anyone but Allah. Therefore, when we put our foreheads at the doorsteps of the shrines of Imam Ali alayhi salam, we must make sure that our attention is not for praying to them, but that we are doing sajda for thanking Allah and seeking the intercession of the Imams. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjum. Thank you, Misbah. Mohsin, can we just have this last bit from you? Can we start Mohsin off with our salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
The highest preference has been given for doing sajda upon earth from the haram of Imam Hussein in Karbala. This earth is known as Alta Baytul Husainiya or Shafar. It is sacred because this earth has the blood of the martyrs of Karbala. During the lifetime of the Holy Prophet, his daughter Fatima made a tasbih from the earth taken from Hamazah bin Abdul Muttalib's grave. Hazama was known as chief of martyrs during the Holy Prophet's time. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr. So mostly they're talking about what we actually do sajda on and what is most recommended to do sajda on. So apart from Haqq Shafar, what else are we allowed? Say if there wasn't any, yeah, because that's the most recommended to do on. Yeah, what if there wasn't any? You didn't have any in the house or you couldn't find any? What is the next thing that you can use? We were talking about things that we are allowed to do sajda on. What things are those?
Leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say if you're outside, yeah, just the natural earth.
Yeah.
You can just do sajda on that. Yeah. So anything that is what is not worn. Not worn.
What?
So I'm wearing this shirt now.
Yeah.
If I was, you won't be able to do salah on this shirt. On this shirt because, so not anything that you wear, you can't do sajda on. Anything that can be eaten, you can't do sajda on. Yeah. So natural things, the earth, leaves are another things that I mentioned. Yeah. Some tissue paper that you can find in your house. Yeah.
But it can't be made without silk or anything like that.
Yeah, but tissue paper
so with tissue paper, yeah, you can use that.
And paper you can't use it if it's made out of silk or anything.
Yeah. Miss Bird mentioned a good that with paper. But which paper is made out of silk? High-end paper, Miss Bird. But
what do you mean, like which?
No, so like things like silk, can't use that to do sajda on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woven materials you can't use to do sajda on. Okay. So these are things. Just remember natural things. Yeah. Sajda is allowed to. You're allowed to do sajda on those things. Yeah. So hope you have learned a lot today. Hope people at home have learned a lot today as well about Imam Jafar Sadiq's life and also talking about sajda as well. And remember the saying of Imam Jafar Sadiq that we will not be a part of the Ahlul Bayt. We will not be with the Ahlul Bayt if we don't keep our salah. If we abandon our salah, we will be pushed away from them. Yeah. So hope you at home have learned a lot. Hope you here have learned a lot as well. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place on Hidayat TV. But until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.